What is it about that? I don't understand. It's like video evidence is no longer good enough.
Oh,
Photographic evidence. I mean, I watched. I don't know if you've ever. I actually I know you've seen this. That video interview back in, I think it was like 1983, of that ex KGB agent,
oh yeah.
Yuri Bezmenov. I don't know if I'm
Mhm.
saying his name right. And he
Yeah, Yuri
basically,
Bezmenov.
yeah, he explains it plain as day to him, and he says these people won't realize until the boot is on their neck.
They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black. You still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization.
I mean,
Right.
is that everything he said seems to apply to today? And I feel like people just don't want to admit that that's happening in real time to us.
No, they can't, because like what he said is that the prerequisite for all of it is demoralization.
Right.
People don't realize it really is, and I believe this wholeheartedly, it's at a spiritual level. If you're not aware of what nonsense is, what degeneracy is, if you're
Right.
not capable of pointing out north from south and east from west on a map, the map of the social map, the cultural map, and the moral map, you are lost. You'll believe anything. It doesn't matter, and that's why information doesn't matter. We're post info, we're post reality, where moving people, it's always their spirit that's moved. It's never their mind. Their mind is all of our minds are suggestible, like they're in a suggestive state. And so if you're not grounded in all those other areas, in my view, you're going to be subject and vulnerable to a lot of lies, and you won't ever know what's true. And we're definitely living in a time where upside down is right side up, and male is female. Everything's upside down and backwards and inverted.
Yeah.
And if that became the norm over the past 50 years, maybe 100 years, through some process like Yuri Bezmenov pointed out, there are going to be generations of people our age and below who don't know what's true or not. And if you don't know what's true, it makes sense. If someone doesn't know what's true, fear is going to be their primary state, because
Right.
they're constantly protective. They don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you're stuck in the woods. You don't know what's true in a way that you don't know what's around you, because you
Yeah.
can't tell what you're looking at. You're in the dark. You're reaching for things. You're
Yeah.
jumping at everything. If someone says there's a spider on your shoulder, you're going to freak out.
The truth is fragile, or so it would seem. In John 18, verses 33 through 38, we read, "Then Pilate entered the judgment hall again, called Jesus, and said to him, 'Are you the king of the Jews?' Jesus answered him, 'Are you speaking for yourself about this, or did others tell you this concerning me?' Pilate answered, 'Am I a Jew? Your own nation and the chief priests have delivered you to me. What have you done?' Jesus answered, 'My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight, so that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now my kingdom is not from here.' Pilate therefore said to him, 'Are you a king then?' Jesus answered, 'You say rightly that I am a king. For this cause I was born, and for this cause I have come into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" And when he had said this, he went out again to the Jews. And Matthew's Gospel records that before condemning Jesus to be put to death, Pilate makes a public demonstration of washing his hands. And this was after at least twice publicly declaring that he found no fault in Jesus. Pilate struggled with truth and whether truth mattered. And ultimately, his fear of an uprising amongst the Jews led him to wash his hands of the whole reality before him. Ultimately, the promise of a false peace appealed to him more than the idea of staunchly defending the truth as it stood right in front of him. In an exchange recorded a few chapters earlier in John 14, 1 through 6, just prior to Judas' betrayal of Jesus, Jesus says in conversation with his disciples, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you had known me, you would have known my Father also. And from now on you know him and have seen him." Now, I've thought about the implications of this conversation. Jesus is identifying with God, and he calls himself the truth. He doesn't say he is truthful or full of truth. He is the truth. Truth is an attribute of God, and all of God's attributes harmonize. A famous Christian theologian once said, "All God's attributes are inseparably joined. They cannot be divided. No, not for a moment." It is interesting to consider then God's attribute of truth in relation to his transcendence and his immanence. Truth will always be, because he always is. The creation can no way rise above or even rise to the level of the Creator. God has no equal. He has no opponent. Truth, therefore, can only be obscured for a time, but it can't be destroyed. No one ever said the end times would be easy, but apathy in light of the truth and knowledge of God is a sin. Now is the time to consider who he is and who you are, and to decide whether or not you, like Pilate, are going to wash your hands of the whole thing in the hopes of seeking a false, temporary peace.